So, hello everyone. My name is Korkan. I am from the Technical University of Munich, but today I'm presenting it to you as part of W3C Web of Things working group, and I will be talking about the recent standards that we published, and most notably the thing description for API description of IoT devices. So generally, when we talk about IoT, we can understand different things. So Internet of Things could mean a lot of things in a way. But in the end, what we are interested in is actually just accessing devices through IP layer protocols that we are all familiar with. But sometimes we can also understand, so like the gateway protocols like Zigbee and Bluetooth. But in this talk, I will be purely focusing on the IP layer. And I can also start by giving an example. So maybe you're already familiar with the Philips Hue devices. So these are some smart home lighting products, and they talk with a certain bridge with the Zigbee protocol. But in the end, they stay in our homes, and it's behind an IP router. And then between that, there are of course, the REST clients like Postman, smartphone apps, or other things on the network. And all this communication actually just happens through HTTP that we are all using these days. But actually, it sometimes gets more complex. So generally, we start seeing these cloud platforms that start to offer the service such that you can access it easier through the public internet. And we already have different products from different companies that allow this. On another note, in the local networks, we have what we call these IoT gateways. And these IoT gateways then also transform this IP-based communication to their own through their own methods, and make it available to the public internet. So basically, I show this just to say that when we say IoT and we want to support a standard that is wide enough, we are supposed to support this kind of different scenarios. And for this one, we also then see the different examples. So there are lots of open source projects that allow us to install these gateways on our Raspberry Pis and computers, but also commercial products. So in a way, when we talk about the public internet, it is always via IP level protocols like HTTP, MQTT, WebSockets. But to the local network can be much more complicated. So of course we can have HTTP and so on, but there are sometimes industry protocols in other settings, or non-IP protocols like I've shown just now. And in addition to this, we also have what we call these silos. So we see that for example, smart home, there are some set of products. And then for, let's say, automotive or building management, there could be then different types of products that are generally not interoperable. What we want to do with the W3C Web of Things is to support mashups that you are probably familiar with in the normal web, so the web mashups, but we want to achieve the same kind of bringing services together in the IoT. So how do we do this? And this is where the Web of Things comes to help. So this term Web of Things has been coined around 2008, and this book you see on the top left is already 10 years old, so it's a long time these days. And this was actually an opinionated way of saying that we can model IoT devices like web resources in this specific manner. So this was a proposal on how to build REST APIs for IoT devices. And what I'm going to show you now is about describing any kind of API for IoT devices that can be speaking different protocols. So what we've been doing is called thing descriptions, or shortly TDs. And TDs can be understood in threefold. And first of all, it's an abstract description of network APIs of IoT devices. And in this, we talk about property, action, and events. So these are our interaction affordances. In addition to this, we talk about semantic annotation capabilities. So we can actually annotate and link to other vocabularies over the web, such as schema.org or SSN by W3C. And basically, this allows us to extend what we can describe. And on top of it, we can describe concrete protocols. So whether it is HTTP or MQTT of individual devices. So we can go to the layer saying that, yeah, this is like this device with this IP address or under this domain name. So this is how it sort of looks like. So this is the top level, so the thing level that we're calling. And here you see some of the technologies that we are using. So this is a JSON LD document. And here you see with the yellow, the different metadata of the thing. So some mostly human readable stuff or identification information. With the red, you see the security credentials. And this is what we are using actually from OpenAPI. And so we are supporting the different security mechanisms defined by OpenAPI. Here you see the different interaction affordances that I mentioned. So for this soil station, so we can see that we can measure the temperature of the soil, we can start a sprinkler, and we can get events when it is too dry. And in addition to this, so we also have links. So this is not the same links as in OpenAPI, but it is basically links to other documents in the web. So this could be, for example, the user interface of your device. It could be documentation. It could be anything. And lastly, we are using the semantic technologies to link to other vocabularies. So here we could actually specifically say that this device is this sprinkler station that is already defined like this. So this is totally extensible. When we look into the interactions, so now we start to see some JSON schema, and we basically use JSON schema to describe how the payloads of these different interactions should be. So when we read the temperature, it is a number with a Celsius. But when we want to start a sprinkler, we can also supply a timeout of a certain type. And same with events, we can also describe what type of event that we are getting. So what is the data type? And here we start seeing where we get into the concrete protocol information. So in the forms, we see the different types of forms we can use to interact with the device. So as you can see, we have the protocol and the concrete URI of the device. We can specify the concrete operations that we want to describe. So we say that we read properties. So if we think of an algorithmic perspective, we would try to parse this and find the form that has a read property and use it automatically. And lastly, we see the protocol-specific vocabulary. So this allows us to tell exactly what type of a request that you need to send, or if you need to supply some header information or not. So this is how our specification looks like. So this has been published on 9th of April. So this year, it's very fresh, but we've been working on this for the last 4 years. And any type of thing description that you can write is explained here. And if you want to validate them, we can use the thing description playground. So basically, you can paste or write thing descriptions here and do some validation or get some tips on how to make it better or get some examples and so on. And you can find it online. It's always hosted here. And of course, all the specifications of W3C are open source. And then we also have different specifications that are related to this. So the binding templates you have already seen a bit. So with this protocol-specific information. And scripting API is an API akin to browser APIs, which allows us to interact with the Web of Things devices in a protocol agnostic fashion, which I'll show now. What can we do with the TD? So now that we have described them, so as I said, with scripting API, we can interact with things without thinking about the protocol. So here is an example. So this is in JavaScript, and this is the Node.js implementation that we have. And basically, as you can see here, this is an actual script that interacts with the physical device. And we do not see any protocol-related information, but we see this Web of Things operations that I have mentioned. So this read property method would actually map to a concrete protocol method by the implementation. And we also have a tutorial on how to use it in detail, which is linked in this presentation. Since we are in the API specifications, we all know that we can use a open API at least for generating user interfaces or documentation, and you can do the same with thing description. So this is a basic example that we have, which is completely up to you how you want to do it, but this is a simple example that is online. And we have also built a more sort of complicated but more powerful Vue Electron-based desktop application that allows us to interact with devices, do some sort of analysis, and even simulate devices. Then we have the Node-RED. So Node-RED is a flow-based programming and orchestration tool, and it's officially supported by OpenJS Foundation. And basically, with the node generator, you can feed it an open API the definition or a TD, and it will actually generate you nodes that you can then connect to other nodes that are provided by Node-RED, and then you could program an application. But what I have promised in the beginning, we are doing all of this mainly to support Mashups. So what do we mean by Mashups in the case of Internet of Things is basically bringing devices together, which could be from different manufacturers, to perform bigger tasks than themselves. So here we could think of a case where we have a window that we want to open or close, and based on whether it is going to rain or not. And we could easily use the local devices that we have to measure the temperature and so on, but at the same time get some information from weather report servers somewhere in the web and use it to calculate some probability to open or close the window or display alerts to a smartphone. So this is our goal, and this is what we've been doing since the last 4 years. And basically every 3-4 months we meet, or we used to meet at least, for bringing devices, which are always from different manufacturers and which can be from different application domains. And then we build scenarios and we test them and present them to the public. And at the same time, with these events, we check the new features that we are trying to build, or see how different protocols can be used in different use cases. And with this PugFest, we sort of built what we can use Web of Things at. And in a way, it's basically wherever you can have IP communication, you can use Web of Things. And here you see some different possibilities. So you can use for between a thing and the cloud, with a mobile device, purely in the local network, purely in the cloud. It's as you wish, depending on your use case. So for the developers, we have also some tools available. So first of all, if you want to actually build a Web of Things device, you can check out Whatify.org. And basically, it's a library of different open source implementations, and also some descriptions for existing devices like these Philips Hue devices. Then we have What Application Manager, which is like basically the CLIs of the web frameworks that allow you to jumpstart your Web of Things applications. Since it's a CLI tool, I have only a logo. And then we have the TD Code, which is a VS Code extension that allows you to do some TD validation, completion, and templating. So basically, you can create a template, TD, and it will help you also completing it. And lastly, with the TDs, we can actually automatically test things from their thing description, since we are able to generate the concrete requests for the devices and validate them. And at the same time, on the other side, we can simulate such devices and even change the protocols. So we could actually proxy, let's say, an HTTP to an MQTT client. So what are we cooking more, so to say? Basically, these days, we are working on the discovery work. So we are basically defining a specific API when we want to store TDs in databases and search for them and manage these databases. And at the same time, how can we discover such TDs if they are in a local network and hosted by the devices, for example? Furthermore, in the thing description, we are bringing some templating mechanisms so that you can write more generic TDs, but then generate concrete TDs for your specific device. We are making the OAuth 2 support better, so more flows and so on. And what we want to really do is supporting more complex event mechanisms that are not easy to describe at the moment. And we want to make this easy. And with the scripting API, basically, we are now having a stable core API, which is already implemented. And we are now working on more higher level APIs to do even easier sort of programming. So if you would like to join, so we have every Wednesday a call where the entire working group and the guests can meet, and you can introduce yourself, tell why you're interested, and work with us. Each task force, so thing description, for example, have a weekly or bi-weekly call where the actual work happens, but also everything is on GitHub, so you can open issues, provide PRs, and so on. And if you are familiar with W3C, there is also the TPAC, so the event where the entire W3C meets, and it is on October, and you can join us there as well, so virtually. Yeah, so before I finish, basically what we're doing here is overcoming these different domain silos, so these different verticals, and increase interoperability between IoT stakeholders. And doing this would allow us to have cross-domain IoT applications. So if you think of it, this is what web was, at least in the beginning, for the internet. So web actually was one of the things that brought the interoperability, and that's where everything is running at the moment. We have about 200 members, and with different ones who participate once in a while, and so you can actually participate for smaller events and just for the hackathons, for example, that we're doing. So we are doing, like I said, this normative work on the building blocks. Yeah, these hackathons are every 3-4 months that you can very easily join. And we have the new charter that has just started. So we are now working on this new features, and it is actually a perfect time to come and join us and bring your contribution. So these are some contact information. So here are the co-chairs of the group and the W3C staff member. And if you want to contact me, you can email me anytime or use my Twitter handle. And yeah, thank you for joining. And now I'll answer the questions. Sadly, my computer screen got locked, so I have to unlock it to see if there are any questions. Okay. Okay, so there is one about no-code IoT mashup platform could be awesome to allow end users to connect their home automation devices. Is anything like that in the works? So there are already products like this. So like I mentioned, these gateways that we put in our local networks, like the Mozilla web thing or the OpenHub or other ones, they actually allow you to do this orchestration, but generally they are sort of in a way like very opinionated how this should be done. So from us, there is, in case there is a device with a thing description, we are able to do this orchestration, like I've shown with Node-RED, for example. But we don't provide, since we're just doing the standardization, we are not providing a specific software or a product to do this. How widely adopted is thing description at this point? Do manufacturers do the descriptions, or is it mostly end users? So that's a very good question. So currently, it is basically the manufacturers who are doing the descriptions, and we actually are not intending for the end users to write a thing description from scratch, but want the manufacturer or the device owner or the device manufacturer to supply such a description. And in the case of like with Whatify, like I shown here. So for example, so there is the Philips Hue devices, and Philips Hue isn't working with us in any way. We have no affiliation with them, but we are still able to describe their devices with thing description, and you can just basically download it, and in an already working scenario, it will just in an already working setup with Philips Hue, you can simply just use the thing descriptions. How does WhatTD relate to digital twins definition language? I think this is the language from Microsoft for the Azure IoT platform. Is it correct, Michael Brown? I'm not sure. So from my knowledge, the TDs were like a bit before this language was published, and from what I remember, the DDTL, the TDL is using the same type of affordances. But as far as I know, there is no, for example, JSON LD-based context extensions. But I think I don't have a very good answer to this question. Perfect question. So this web page at the end, yeah. So basically, if you go to this link here, maybe I can actually just go now. Here you can find information, and so if you then go to the interest group. Yeah, so if you go to the interest group, exactly. So here you can find the list of meetings that we have. But in any case, you can just write me an email or to one of the chairs, and you should be also able to get the link. So generally, to attend the meeting, even though everyone is allowed, you need to write an email or get to one of us so that we share the link information with you, just in case. So if you are a member of W3C, I think it should be automatic though. Like you should be able to attend anytime. But thanks for the interest. Yeah.